So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world when you're watching this episode. We're at the YATCO SkyLounge. It's day 2 of the Palm Beach Boat Show, and I am here with 2 very interesting gentlemen who are going to share. I want to hear their life stories. This is all about life stories. But before we do that, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves very quickly. So I'm going to hand you this microphone, Tom, and go ahead.
I'm Thom Conboy from Heesen Yachts. I've been in the industry since 1979, so I guess that's like 45, 46 years now, in a variety of roles. You know, started out like a lot of people running boats, sailing background, running boats for probably about 8-9 years, and then I transitioned into the building end of it at shipyards. At Directors and Mamaroneck was my first kind of intro into that. Project manager on the floor. From there, a partner in a yard called Windship Trident in Tampa, Florida. And from there, Intermarine in Savannah, Georgia for a dozen years, a yard that I owned with a money backer. And from there, it's been Heesen, as far as a representation of Heesen in this hemisphere. And as well as I do a lot of new build with clients over the years, and brokerage I do with Ocean Independence.
And we're going to go a little bit deeper in a second on that. On my other side, I've got Toby, and Toby basically said that Tom invented the industry. That was what you said when we had a pre-chat.
Well, I think so. I think Tom did invent the industry, because I'm still like 17 years behind you somehow. I mean, I'm 30 years in the business. I just kind of figured out. I don't think either of us look that old. But it certainly shows that there's a lifetime of career to be had in this business, which hopefully attracts a lot of young blood to come into the industry as well. I would say, we'll dive into it shortly. Yes, Chief Commercial Officer, Ocean Independence. I've been Ocean Independence now for 16 years. So a good chunk of my time, has now been in the super yacht business. But it didn't start that way. I'm a failed boat builder. When I look at when I fell out of school and didn't know what to do and just wanted to sort of muck around with boats.
So he actually built boats on the shipyard, and you fill that in. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, no, so
I don't want to put you at the spot. You've got a lot of talents, Toby, but
he's a good boat builder. I left school. I had no clue what I wanted to do, and I got a job in a local boatyard that specialised in restoring old wooden yachts. And I sort of quickly learned that I was quite good at taking stuff apart, but putting it back together again was a bit of a challenge. And and the guys there, the craftsmanship was amazing, but I was never going to achieve that, and it was very cold in the winter. And one of the yachts that we were working on, the owner ran into some sort of tough times financially. They put the yacht up for sale. I met my first yacht broker, and I thought, hey, this is cool.
I don't have to work with my hands, but I still can do what I can do.
And so I said, well, can I come and work for you at weekends? I'll carry the ladders, I'll make the tea, the coffee for the clients, and if you sort of teach me about yacht brokerage, I'd really appreciate it. Kind of a leaf out of the sort of Rich Dad Poor Dad kind of book, really.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good story. But you started on vessels, if I got that correct. So just walk me through 1979, if I remember well, how it was working on boats.
Wow, different than it is today, that's for sure. I was in school on the West Coast, California, dropped out of school, went on a sailboat to Hawaii, decided this was kind of my passion, came back. The first job I had, I worked on a Baltic trader called the Raglan, which was owned by the musician Neil Young, and worked on that for about 3 years. Transitioned into more of the motorboats around. You know, I mean, I worked on a 106-foot fed ship called the Belly Vat. Was on Black Knight, quite a famous boat, did the America's Cup. Ran into this guy, Steve Nichols, who was building a boat at Directors called Obsession, and sort of started working with Bob and Paul and Tommy Director in Mamaroneck, New York, where we were building a lot of the racing sailboats. 1987 was Stars and Stripes that won the America's Cup. You know, Boomerang, Obsession, Mitsia, Encore, some pretty famous racing sailboats. And you know, and I kind of stayed in the shipyard end of it. And you know, now many years later, I'm more involved with the last 20 years with crew. I'm responsible for, I have some programs that are up at you know, 80 and 100 meters that I'm responsible for, and with the management companies. A lot more professional now, obviously. Back then it was like, you know, we had navigational equipment like Loran C, which is the size of a microwave. You know, if you're kind of going somewhere, you kind of dead reckoned around the world a bit. And you know, it was good seamen. I mean, the people then really knew wind, current, how to tie lines. I think there was a bit of more seamanship. Was more, you had to, you know, you had to. Today you can kind of come out of being a, I don't know, maitre d' in a restaurant, and 3 years later you've got enough seat time that you've got a 3,000-ton ticket. An old buddy of mine, Jim Booz, says, you know, lots of no experience, but lots of credentials. So I think that there's good and bad with what you see today in crew.
There's good and bad.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the good first.
The good is that there's a high level of professionalism. People that have chosen this as their career, they're serious about it. You know, there's always you know, if you take like say an 86-meter boat that has 28 positions with rotation, 44 crew members, and you do like a two on and two off with the upper 14 and 3 on 1 off with the lower 14. The lower 14, you know, we call them not badly, but they're like backpackers. They're trying to figure out where they're going in life because they're in their 20s, and some of them will make this their career, and some of them will move on to the next thing. It's a great way to, you know, for, you know, we people from South Africa, from England, from Australia, from, you know, all walks of life, you know, Eastern Bloc and the engineers. You know, it's a great way to go travel, to make money, to meet people, and maybe find your direction. If it's boating, it's boating. And then, you know, that upper tier, they've already made it their choice. So those people are more professional than what they were back in the, say, 70s, 80s, and 90s because of the schooling and the requirements that are required.
And that makes total sense. And I mean, I'm talking to 2 school dropouts. That's what you so
pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much so.
Yeah.
And I guess like I'll move to Toby quickly, is because obviously you're selling vessels, but like just mentioning crew for a second. How important is it? Do you sell? What happens more? Do you sell a vessel? Do they look at the crew, or do they just basically buy the plain vessel and then they'll look at another like set of crew for themselves? I'm giving you my microphone.
I was a first-time buyer. I mean, they'll look very closely at the crew.
Yeah.
And there'll be lots of questions, you know, will the crew transition across? Would they like, well, could they be available? Is the seller going to go on and have another yacht? Or, you know, could they at least help us and help us feel comfortable, you know, in this yachting journey that we're about to start on? Of course, you know, if the seller is immediately moving on to something else, then, yeah, we might need to support a lot with finding crew. And, you know, I think sometimes we forget how much we all depend on each other in this business, and, you know, we actually need to really support each other in delivering, you know, an ownership experience that keeps owners in the business and brings more owners into the industry. I mean, I cry quite a bit when I hear that, you know, an owner is exiting the industry because of, you know, frictions with brokers or frictions with crew or frictions with shipyards or management companies. I mean, it's mostly down to poor communication, and a lot of it can be just down to the fact that, you know, we've just not supported each other and actually worked together And this is what we should be aiming for. I mean, on the whole, we deliver an experience like no other. But there's always room for improvement.
Let me ask you a quick thing, and then I'll ask you the same questions, but to both of you, with your experience. Because buying a yacht is something completely different than buying real estate or buying a house. There's a completely different emotion behind it, right? That's like, that's what I'm told, and I'm not a sales broker.
Yep.
How would you describe that emotion behind buying a yacht? I'm going to ask you the same thing after that.
I mean, it's an emotional driven thing. It's part of a lifestyle decision. It's part of deciding, what is important for you and your family and your time off, and what is going to work for you. And it's incredible when, you might have walked on board 20, 30 different yachts in different locations with a potential buyer, and you do make that final connection, and you see the eyes light up, and it's our job to facilitate the purchase and the use and the management of the yacht, and just really make it as easy and as seamless as possible.
Okay. You want to add something to that?
Well, I mean, I think if you're introduced to the experience of yachting, that's the starting point. You've either been on a friend's boat, maybe read about it, whatever, however you've gotten to that destination of buying a boat. Starts probably sometimes with chartering a boat or being on a friend's boat. And it can go really, really well and you stay in a long time, or it can go really, really bad, you get out right away. And that really depends on the people that you meet in the initial stages of getting you in that. And, whereas we just talked about the crew and the professionalism of crew, I would say there's a real lack of professionalism in the sales and charter brokers. There's really, really good ones, and there's a great deal of really, really bad ones. And the really, really bad ones are because they don't have the knowledge. You can't be 25 or 30 years old and represent something. You don't have enough knowledge.
Okay, because that is actually, thank you for building that little bridge, because that was what I was moving towards. I'm here with two gentlemen who have a ton of experience, and we were speaking before, and this is probably one of the few industries in the world where experience actually counts. But on the other hand, we have a lot of young people that are either on vessels at the moment, want to move ashore, or are starting their career in brokerage, or I might be watching this thinking wow, that's a nice little industry, the superyacht industry. Maybe I want to become a sales broker.
I got a really good way to do it.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you. So
I got a real method that you should do, and if you don't do, you probably won't be very successful.
Well, go for it.
The first thing you should do is go work on a boat. You should go work on a boat for quite a few years and learn this product that you're attempting to go sell. Otherwise, you're just like a lot of these people that think they know what they're doing. And the crew, keep in mind, when you're selling a boat, that crew that you're interacting with, they know the boat. They know the boat better than you know the boat. So you better have a knowledge and an experience that brings up to that level. And that's where it really falls apart. If you talk to most yacht crew, they have no respect for yacht brokers. There's a reason for that. They watch them. And they watch what they don't know. So they see it firsthand.
And would you say that's for charter brokers and sales brokers?
Well, charter's a little different, because I think the charter brokers, you kind of have to be, there's a lot more of a concierge type service there, with the preference sheets and the whims and likes and dislikes of the owner, the charterer. And, there's a charter manager and there's a retail charter. So I think if you get to be a charter manager, you've already had some schooling or, you've worked under a charter broker. And I'm not trying to bash sales brokers, but we do see an awful lot of them that don't have a clue.
Well, I don't have an opinion, guys. I'm just interviewing, so don't shoot the messenger. But what I like is that that they got strong opinions, because that will at least lead to conversation. Toby, you want to add something to that?
I do. I mean, I do agree with Tom on a lot of that. and certainly, you know, to sort of try and also see it as a career path, not necessarily to go, okay, I'm going to come in at the top. I mean, you know, try selling smaller boats first. Yeah. You know, try working for a boat dealer. You know, doing some new boat deals, which was in fact my path initially. I mean, selling, you know, 20, 30 foot sailing yachts on the UK south coast, and you do a great volume of deals in that way, and you know, you're learning your craft. I mean, you know, yes, the bigger yachts are more complex, and the contracts are more complex, but you know, the principle, you know, is still the same in, you know, trying to sort of, you know, be a matchmaker between, you know, the right yacht and the right buyer, and you know, communicating through that process to make it all work. I mean, my concern this day and age, I mean, all revolves around the digital world that we live in at the moment, which I think in a way almost it makes, you know, a potential buyer's life actually really quite complicated. I mean, you know, there's so much content out there. How do you know what's true, what's not true? How do you know what has been genuinely posted, or you know, what has just been what has just been created just to sort of try and, you know, put you on, you know, get you on a hook, and you know, the influencers, yes, but you know, how are they influencing you, and where are they influencing you to? We like to think that we are an advice-driven company.
We sell information.
Yeah,
You sell information because, like, okay, we're gonna end with something like let's look at the future, right? And because we are a reputation, people-driven industry. Agreed?
yep.
Yep, good. But now we've got social media coming in, we've got AI coming in. What does that mean to the brokers? Are you going to adopt it? Are you going to use it? Is it going to distinct the way you do things? I'm going to give you a microphone, you a microphone, and just tell me, like, how do you see that? And then I'll end with my personal opinion.
I definitely think that AI, social media is already here, so we already see what that's doing, and that's, you know, you can have your own opinion one way or the other on that. AI, I think, is a game changer because, again, we just said selling information. What is you know, 40 years of experience? It's the knowledge and all of that. If you can obtain that knowledge in a much more condensed time frame, then you are going to get to a different level. It's logical, quicker. Period.
No, I think, I mean, all of the technology, you know, we should use in order to be able to more clearly communicate and as you say, get that knowledge across, you know, to buyers and sellers and charterers and new people coming into the business. But at the same breath, we've got to get more personal. And as an industry, and hide less behind, you know, WhatsApp messages and DMs and, you know, millions of emails, and the art of, you know, picking up the telephone, or just saying, guess what, you know, if you're interested, I'll come and meet you, you know, let's have a coffee. Yeah. I mean, you know, that we seem to be sort of losing that slightly, and this business is so personal because this is how people spend their valuable family time. And so, yeah, as I say, in everything that we do, we mustn't forget to, you know, keep it personal. Keep it personal.
I think that's a beautiful thing you said. I mean, let's face it, social media is there to stay. AI is gonna be a really good source. It's a learning tool that is going to be an amazing source of intelligence, as you said. But again, we're a people business, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you know, absolutely, without doubt. Yeah.
Would you agree with that? We're a people business?
Yeah, oh yeah, relationship business, 100%. 100%, especially the bigger the boats get, it's a relationship business.
Good. Okay, what I took from this, because I could talk with these guys for hours, I'm not going to do so because I know that our...
we have a boat show to go.
We have a boat show to go, and also like the attention span of our viewers is way shorter than it used to be. So I took from this, there's a lot of experience. They've got great stories. Find them, ask them about their stories. They've seemed very willing to share their stories. They there's a future in yachting, and sales brokerage. They have their opinion on how to get there. You can have your own, but I think what it's nice is just like, I really enjoyed this. I love the stories. So thank you so much, guys, for doing this with me.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toby.
Thank you,
Tom.
Yeah, man.
Have a great day. Have a great boat show.